Gilgaboo, Gilgaboo, Gilgaboo.
Gilga boo the jarrow as falch eru, gus Gullas Gaccan. Welcome to Gullas Gaccan.
Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
As an Hampshire Jew, mut me able to faganay, shenny, be a bodgelek lish flias dramain brisha marcus K and a slage and Nina bodgelin brisha beggin a vegan sanas the beggars higger the ve chirum, le shallan greenach, be gia nia na shias fast na mianach on, as an temperela smooth shea Celsius jeg, be lebrow chirum on merach le shallan greenach, be gia nia as on, son and hood smooth. Fast na mianach, as an temperelus smooth shack Celsius jeg and rate be a bodgelach chimut, lesh go on the be flabrish a mac the kitten as esht, higger the venus smooth chirimus gyal, lesh green chit rish, be gia nias mianach on bespion the hinnadach, as an temperelus smooth shack Celsius jeg rishach. Erina grania shaman a jeg rosh queg merach as line grania shack minute rosh jai dew. Cloudy with a few outbreaks of rain and drizzle and fog, hill fog. Cloud thinning and breaking this evening as it becomes dry with sunny intervals. Light to moderate west or southwest wind and a maximum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. Fine and dry tomorrow with sunny intervals, light to moderate mainly southwest wind and a top temperature of 17 degrees C. Outlook, cloudy start on Tuesday with the risk of a few outbreaks of rain, then becoming drier and brighter with sunny intervals, I was going to say, sunshine developing. Moderate, locally fresh southwest wind and a highest temperature again around 17 degrees Celsius. Sunrise is at 16 minutes to 5 tomorrow and sunset 7 minutes to 10 this evening.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate. Gullas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
You
Well, I wouldn't go quite as far as to say that we're simply the best on Gullas Gaccan. Perhaps the best has just been with, of course, Andy Wint with his, I don't know, what's it called? Sunday Gold? It used to be called. What's it called these days? I'm not sure. I ought to know, and apologies. I'll find out at some point. But yes, welcome to Gullas Gaccan. This afternoon's programme, we're going to hear a little bit from Maxine Cannon and quite a lot from a professor. I think it's Andrew MacDonald. We'll hear as the interviews proceed, and he, of course, is an expert on the Vikings and particularly the Scandinavian rule in the Isle of Man. So we'll be hearing a lot from him as the programme goes by. Well, for much of April and May, we were saying we could do with a little bit of rain. We certainly had it over the weekend, didn't we? By golly. I was digging some of my first earlies. The first earlies haven't done quite as well as the second earlies for some reason. But anyway, the first earlies dug them yesterday between the heavy bursts of rain. And by golly, the ground was sloppy. But they were very tasty, very good. There's nothing to beat, I don't think, first early potatoes, the first early potatoes, which these were for me this year. So yes, anyway, please contact the programme if you have any queries relating to the Manx language, Manx culture, maybe even Manx history. I can't claim to be the expert on all of these matters, but I'll certainly do my best, as Tina Turner was urging there. Yes, please do text in 166177 or email studio@manxradio.com, and I would be very pleased to hear from you. Well, we now are going to have George Michael and Elton John pleading, "Don't let the sun go down on me," which yes, it would be nice if we get it, if the sun would just stay around for a little bit longer, wouldn't it?
As Manx as the bluebells at Ballaglass or the seals at the Sound, we are your Manx Radio.
Time stands still before me. Frozen here on the ladder of my life. It's much too late to save myself. and gentlemen, Mr. Elton John. I can't find all the romantic line. You see me once, see the way I feel. Don't discard me, baby, no. Just because you think I mean you harm. Just because you think I mean you harm, no. But these cuts I had, they need love, to help them heal. Oh, don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, it's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to wander free. Cause losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, it's always someone else that I see. Yeah, I just allow a fragment of your life to wander free, baby. Cause losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Mr. Elton John.
Inza sumen jako keshelok pahi. Shatni khosa, shat susel minasti. Haki, bati, haki. Akchika bez kes pahi. Yes akchikem azat yes kaparem duet. Ari, 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 doins mi ati. Meka, 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 ovin chekasi. Eli, 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 shamin chenk nai. Heli, 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 boyut mata vergat.
And that's not your normal Manx radio playlist, it's fair to say, but it was Jacko, or possibly Jacko, I think it is, a song by French-Armenian world music duo Lada Niva. The song was originally released on the 29th of September in 2023 on the duo's debut self-titled album as a track, and was written by Audrey Leclerc and Jacqueline Bagdasarian and Louis, I don't know, Thomas, and represented Armenia in the Eurovision Song Contest 2024, where it came 8th. And that was the main reason for playing it. I'm not sure why I needed to tell you who wrote it and all that. But anyway, we have some texts into the programme. The first one is in relation to those rather interesting, the 6 round brick semicircle structures, approximately 4 foot high. Can your listeners please tell me what they were for? And that's from Jeff. This is out on Lang Ness. I have a feeling it was something to do with guns, and possibly the First World War, but I'm not absolutely sure about that. I do remember reading something about it recently on Facebook. Pretty sure it's to do with the First World War and possibly gun emplacements. But there will be loads of people out there throwing various things, cups of tea and the like, at the radio set and saying, don't be so stupid, it's not that at all. So if you know, or if you can give a more authoritative version of that, please let me know. And that was from Jeff. We've also had a text in wanting to know what does Lurgi Kripiti translate as. And I will come to that. I'll use that as the kind of the theme for 5 o'clock, just after 5, I should say, when we play our Kane's Place Names feature. And yes, we'll get to that. Anyway, next we have an interview. The interview I was talking about with Maxine Cannon from Isle of Man Post, and later in this particular part of the interview, Professor McDonald. So, yes, we'll have a listen to them now. So, talking to Professor Andrew MacDonald and Maxine. Wait, should we call you Professor Maxine Cannon as well? Or,
oh, no, just Mad Max.
And Maxine, to begin with, we're here because Isle of Man Post has launched another set of stamps, and on this occasion they are beautifully designed stamps from June Moore. Tell us a bit about them.
So this all came about back in 2023. Andrew last visited the island, and he did a lecture at Manx National Heritage. My colleague Paul Ford went down to meet with Andrew and immediately recognised that the knowledge which Professor MacDonald had of our Manx history was so extensive that we really needed to capture that and produce a set of stamps in 2025 called The Age of the Sea Kings, because this is also the year we are part of Post Europe, and every year Post Europe have a theme. 2025 is archaeological discoveries, so this issue fits perfectly with that theme. It's part of a competition, so I encourage everybody to go and vote for the Isle of Man stamp, so we can win Stamp of the Year at Post Europe.
And how do they find Post Europe?
So they go to the Post Europe website, and the competition is there. So already Andrew is going to encourage all his 20,000 students at Brock University to, fingers on buzzers time.
Well, quite
And
right.
it's,
Quite right.
Isle of Man, not Ireland, or not the Faroes, or not Uzbekistan, who are also in the competition, but Isle of Man.
And of course, the stamps have some famous Manx figures on them. I'll just reach over and get the board with the stamps on. The 90p stamp is Godred Crovan, who is well known to I suppose most people in the Isle of Man. And then you've got Godred Olafson, Olaf Godredson, Reginald Ragnvald, and Olaf Godredson, the Chronicles, and then the last Sea Kings of the various titles of the stamps. And these are all done by Ewan Moore, and they look fantastic. They really do. So I was saying there, Godred Crovan is someone we are generally very familiar with. I suspect most Manx people probably won't have heard of many of the other Viking kings. Tell us, first of all, Godred Crovan, why is he so important, do you think, in Manx history?
Well, I think he's principally famous as the founder of this dynasty that was established here and held power for nearly 200 years. According to the Chronicles, Godred comes to the island in 1079, wins the famous Battle of Sky Hill, and essentially establishes himself, and then entrenches his ultimately his family is entrenched here. When June and I were discussing the best way to present the topic and the theme of the Sea Kings, we kicked around a number of ideas, but ultimately we settled on sort of working with the reigns of some of the more influential and more important rulers. And it just so happens that with 6 stamps, there were about 5 or 6 sort of major figures in the dynasty that it seemed to be that going with a series of stamps that was focused on individual rulers was a good way to package and present the material.
And that was Professor Andrew MacDonald finishing off that interview there. And there's going to be another 4 parts to that interview as we go through the rest of the programme today. And yes, I think it's very interesting, both what the Isle of Man Post Office is doing. Excellent team down there doing brilliant job promoting the Isle of Man through their stamps. And of course, Andrew MacDonald's, Professor McDonald's knowledge is of great interest, certainly to me anyway. Next, we shall hear from Maisie Peters, who's lost the breakup.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
Got the news just last month that I am exhausting and you're not in love. Didn't say it in those words, but I know how your tone works. You're MIA, running so free, calling your ex, forgetting about me. But I know you could never. Yeah, I know you remember. So I'm feeling and I'm dealing with the heart you broke while you do press ups and repress us and take off her clothes. Oh, I'm hurting, but I'm certain it's still true. I'm the best thing that almost happened to you. I am obsessing. Right now I might be a mess, but one day you're gonna wake up and you'll see you lost the breakup. Types, country and western. So I'm feeling and I'm dealing with the heart you broke while you do press stops and repress us and take off her clothes. Oh, here's something if nothing else is true. I'm the best thing that almost happened to you. I know I am obsessing. Right now I might be a mess, but one day you're gonna wake up and you'll see you lost the breakup. I smile and you'll have to face it. I'm the greatest love that you wasted. But by then I'll be far away and you'll see you lost the breakup. And you'll see you lost the breakup. You're gonna walk into some underground bar. You'll see a pretty little thing catching eyes in the dark, and it's me. I see you two out waving. I'm dancing over to you in the corner, and you say, wow, hey, it's been forever. Do you wanna get a drink like together? I say, I'm kinda busy, but like stay in touch. I think, oh man, I won the breakup. I smile and you'll have to face it. I'm the greatest love that you wasted. But by then I'll be far away and you'll see you lost the breakup. You'll see you lost the breakup.
As Manx as the Tower of Refuge. Manx Radio.
And there we go, that was Maisie Peters. Well, it's time, I think, now for the weather. Where's just a very quick look. Bodulach leis fiasdra men brisha marcus Cayenne a slage and faster Jew as esh need a bodulan brisha begging a vegan sanasta beggars higger the ve chirum le shell and greenach be lebrow chiramon merach le shell and greenach as be a bodulach gemurtlish gow on the be fia brisha magna keten as esh higger the venus smooth chirum as gyal lesh green chit rish. So cloudy with a few outbreaks of rain and drizzle and hill fog earlier this afternoon, or round about now-ish, I suppose. And then the cloud thinning and breaking this evening as it becomes dry with sunny intervals. Fine and dry tomorrow with sunny intervals. Cloudy start on Tuesday with the risk of a few outbreaks of rain, then becoming drier and brighter with some sunshine developing. Well, we'll say a big huzzah for the sunshine.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
The extended Ramsey Garden Centre is deceptively large. You'll find a warm welcome and everything from bedding and perennials, fruit and vegetables, to lighting, garden ornaments, bird baths, bird tables and indoor and outdoor pots. Come and browse at Ramsey Garden Centre.
Go al fresco in style with the Lifestyle Furniture Garden and Outdoor Collection. Discover our hand-picked range of gorgeous corner, dining, lounge and bistro sets, plus outdoor bars and fire pits, all with free delivery island-wide. For truly great outdoors, browse online at lifestylefurnitureplus.com or explore the garden and outdoor marquee at our main showroom, Snugborough Trading Estate, Union Mills. Lifestyle Furniture. It's everything your garden's been waiting for.
Out and about this summer, EVF service stations have everything you need to make the most of it. Hot and cold food, chilled wine and beers, barbecue essentials and more. You can even pick up your lottery tickets at our stations across the island. Fill up, fuel up with Ellen Vannin Fuels. Visit us at evf.co.im. Stocks and offers may vary between locations.
Isle of Man Railways.
Get your tickets now for this season's range of onboard dining events featuring old favourites like the legendary Pie and Mash Train, the Curry Club and more, including memorable dining experiences on one of our steam theme events with something for everyone. To find out what's cooking on the dining car or to book, call 697 457 or visit rail.im.
Isle of Man Railways.
Station Nation Radio Vannin.
And of course that means it's time for our Manx track. And today I've gone with Clash Fua and Crosh Fallon.
Galla's Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
Sluggy Lash and Sluggy Jay.
Fuddy back and kimmer. Ooh, tummy back and smoke room. That's creepy, Aston.
And that was Clash Fua with Crosh Vollen, or the Bollen Cross, I suppose is a good way of saying that. And Amazed are going to sing. Oh no, Lone Star are going to sing, and their song is called Amazed.
Every time our eyes meet, this feeling inside me is almost more than I can take. Baby, when you touch me, I can feel how much you love me, and it just blows me away. I've never been this close to anyone or anything. I can hear your thoughts, I can see your dreams. I don't know how you do what you do. I'm so in love with you. It just keeps getting better. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you by my side, forever and ever. Every little thing that you do, baby, I'm amazed by you. The smell of your skin, the taste of your kiss, the way you whisper in the dark, your hair all around me, baby, you surround me, touch every place in my heart. Oh, it feels like the first time, every time. I wanna spend the whole night in your eyes. I don't know how you do what you do. I'm so in love with you. It just keeps getting better. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you by my side, forever and ever. Every little thing that you do, baby, I'm amazed by you. Every little thing that you do, I'm so in love with you. It just keeps getting better. I wanna spend the rest of my life with you by my side, forever and ever. Every little thing that you do, oh yeah. Every little thing that you do, baby, I'm amazed by you.
Well then, Lone Star, if you're amazed by you, I wonder if you the listener, I guess. If you're that amazed, I think you're going to be pretty amazed with this interview with Professor McDonald. This is the second part of the interview, which I conducted as a result of Isle of Man Post producing some rather excellent stamps designed by Dewan Moore and probably arriving on a letter to your address in the not too distant future. But yes, let's hear now again the second part of the interview, and this is I think this is Professor McDonald next. And of course, you've written a book about the Sea Kings. Is it that? Well, you tell me. What's the book called?
The book. So the 2019 book was called "The Sea Kings: The Late Norse Kingdoms of Mann and the Isles, 1066 to 1275." That was published by Berlin in Edinburgh, and then in 23. When I was over, as Maxine was mentioning, that was for the Visitor's Guide to the Medieval Kingdom of Mann and the Isles that Manx National Heritage had asked me to produce, and I was very honored to produce that with them and for them. So both of those books cover this period from the 1060s, 1070s, when Godred Crovan appears on the scene, down to the end of the dynasty and the sort of the end of the period in the 1260s and 1270s. And they present it in different ways. So, pardon me. So that the first book that I mentioned was much more of an academic text. The Visitor's Guide was much more intended as exactly that, something that someone who perhaps is visiting the island, not familiar at all with the history, might pick up and gain some essential familiarity with.
And you've referenced there the Chronicles, and one of the stamps is the Chronicles. I guess for Manx people, the Chronicles of Mann and the Isles are the famous one that we know about. But there's quite a lot of the Vikings seemed quite keen on getting their history written down, didn't they? There's lots of sagas and various other things which you can reference to find out about what the Vikings were up to.
Yes, that's very true, and one of the really it's a tremendous challenge, but it's also one of the really satisfying aspects of researching this period for me is the need to the chronicle. Quite right, that's our most important text of the history of this period in the Isle of Man and the Hebrides, but it doesn't give us a complete story, and in order to round out the story of the Chronicles, one has to use a whole array of other sources, everything from Irish and Welsh chronicles and annals to Scottish materials to Icelandic materials, including some of the sagas. Some of these rulers are mentioned in various saga texts, and they pop up in all kinds of interesting and sometimes unexpected places. Even in particular, in the early 1200s, there's a lot of intensive diplomatic correspondence with the English kings, and much of that is preserved and very interesting in terms of the way in which they're dealing with kings like John and Henry III. So one of I always liken being an historian to sort of being a detective. You have to try to gather up all of the evidence and then follow the evidence and see where the evidence takes you. And that's one of the really interesting, challenging, and delightful aspects of telling this story.
And interesting and delightful it is to hear from Professor McDonald too, and we'll hear a lot more from him in the second hour of the programme. Time now for the Manic Street Preachers.
Give us power, then what came and made us free? What price now for a shallow piece of dignity?
There we are. Manx Street Preachers. And the Manx Street Preachers, also simply known as the Manx, apparently, a Welsh rock band formed in Blackwood, Caerphilly in 1986. For some reason I was wanting to say 1689 there, but 1986 they were. They're not quite as old as that. So I've had a text in, have they found Elvis the Lost Dog yet? And I'm not sure what the answer to that is. Certainly if they have, they've not told me. But I'm not sure how old that particular message is. Well, I know when this message was sent in here, but I'm not sure when the dog Elvis was reported missing. Of course, when I first read it, because you kind of skip over these things, don't you? And I read it as, have they found Elvis's dog yet? But yes, anyway, let's not go there. I do hope that the dog has been found, but if it hasn't, or indeed if it has, please text in 166177 and let me know about it. Well, as I was saying earlier in the programme, the ground is wet. The weeds are now starting to take after that really long dry spell which held the weeds back, and to a certain extent the vegetables. The weeds are now ahead of the vegetables. So I'm looking for a dry patch, and we might be getting it this week. There's always hope, isn't there? Tammy Shira Shallan Chirim. I'm looking for dry spells. And as a result, I am invoking the summer with a number of songs that you'll be hearing shortly, including this one, which is Here Comes the Summer by the Undertones, which brings me back to to my youth, it's fair to say.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
As an Hampshire os gilg satoyach, be a bodulak lish fiaz dramain brisha mark as Kay and a slage and Nina bodulan brisha begging a vegan san after beggars higger the ve chirum lish shell and greenach. Be gear near na shias fest na menachon as an temporary smooth shea Celsius jeg. Be le brow chirum on merach lish shell and greenach. Be gear near as on son and could smooth fest na menach as an temporary smooth shark Celsius jeg and rate. Be a bodulak gemurtlish go on the jig fliabrisha mark the bee fliabrisha mark na keten as ish higger the vein a smooth chirum as gallish green chitrish. Be gear nears menach on vis beyond the hinnadach as an temporary smooth shark Celsius jeg rishach. Irina grania shaman a jeg rush queg merach as lina grania shark minid rosh jai jew. And all of that again in English this time. Cloudy with a few outbreaks of rain and drizzle and hill fog at first, then cloud thinning and breaking this evening as it becomes dry with sunny intervals. Light to moderate west or southwest wind and a maximum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. Fine and dry tomorrow with sunny intervals. Light to moderate, mainly southwest wind and a top temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. The outlook: cloudy start on Tuesday with the risk of a few outbreaks of rain, then becoming drier and brighter with some sunshine developing. Moderate, locally fresh southwest wind and a highest temperature again around 17 degrees Celsius. Sunrise 16 minutes to 5 tomorrow and sunset 7 minutes to 10 today.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate. Galla's Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
And that was the Cranberries, a rock band formed in Limerick in 1989. And the song entitled Dreams. Well, no time for dreaming on today's programme.
And I'm sure I heard them saying it like that.
And that's nonsense. Never heard it like that at all.
Well, this'll have to be one of those for Kane's place names campaign, don't you think?
And if herself says it's time, it must be time. And we, earlier in the programme, heard from a texter ending 554. Have you any idea what Lurgy Crippety translates to? Well, I have. And I was sure that if I went to J.J. Neen's place names, which is the only searchable place name, Manx place names I can find online, so I know people suggest that perhaps J.J. Neen has been overtaken by the excellent work George Broderick did on place names. But unfortunately, I haven't got that accessible. It's certainly not available online. And they're quite expensive, those books. There's one book produced by George for every sheeding. And I have Russian, but I couldn't afford the other 5. Anyway, that's a long story. Lurgy Crippety, I was sure that was going to be in Braddon. And then I thought, well, I couldn't find it in Braddon. And then I thought, well, maybe it's in Marown, and it's not in Marown either. And I'm absolutely sure that the road is in the parish of Braddon. But again, if anyone's listening and knows which parish it's in, and or knows that it's not in Braddon, let me know. But I'm fairly sure it is. Anyway, long story short, it means the slope, or the crooked slope. So Lurgy, that basically means a slope or hillside, and Crippety means crooked. And so that's basically it. And if you go down the Lurgy Crippety, the road there, you'll notice how it kind of goes along a bit, and then it goes down a bit, and then it goes along a bit more, and down another little bit, and so on and so forth. So yes, I think it's a well or aptly named place name, that one. So then I did find a Lurgy Breck in Braddon, which is the speckled slope or hillside. And I also found a Lurgy Achwalion, and Lurgy Achwalion would be the slope of the Whelps Ford. So a whelp would probably translate into modern English as a pup or a puppy. So there's the Lurgies or Largies and Lurgies that we've got in Braddon. Other interesting place names from around that area: Leonie na Hawn. So Leonie na Hawn, which is the river of the meadow. There's also Knockatroddan, and that was the ancient name of the quarterland of Castle Ward. It's usually translated as the hill of the contest. So Cronkatroddan, the hill of the contest or battle sometimes. And of course, I used to, and I'd love to get back to it. I must find myself a pair of horses sometime. I used to plough in what were called Troddan Trowie, ploughing matches, or conflicts or contests of ploughing, literally. But yes, that's Castle Ward, or Knockatroddan or Cronkatroddan sometimes. Then we also have, what was the other one I was going to look at? Portachi, that was the other one. This is usually translated the Harbour of Peace. If an old name, it may be Pertnashi, the fort of the little people. We were hearing about those from Stephen Miller last week, and we're not supposed to use their name, but the F word, the fairies. Did I say it out loud? I think I did. Port has 2 meanings in Irish: a bank or landing place, or a harbour, port, or haven. A fortress or military station, a royal fort, or a chieftain's residence. Those are, well, that felt like more than 2 meanings to me, but maybe not. There are the remains of ancient earthwork on brow overlooking the main road between Quarterbridge and Braddon, which probably at one time was much more extensive than at present. This is J.J. Neen speculating a bit there now, but so that's where Portachi comes from. Anyway, time for us to move on, and we're going to listen to Jamie Webster next, and he's going to sing us a song called Across the River.
As Manx as Milner's Tower or Corin's Folly, we are your Manx Radio.
Late shift, catch the 105. Waking days like I'm fighting for my life. I'm on the edge of a knife. Boss flips 'cause I'm late again. I'd knock him out if I didn't work for him. Will I ever win? But I forget it's Friday and I'm going home. My hopes and dreams aren't set in stone. This little town, it's ours to roam again. I throw my arms out across the river. I cry my eyes out when the boys deliver. I guess it's time now. Oh, I've got shivers and I'm coming home. I'm coming up again. I'm coming up again. I pray these days won't end. Oh la la la. Oh la la la. There's things they can't take away. The sun can shine even on the worst of days. I let my memories play. And I'll see all we told me for. We're still young and it's time for so much more. So much more. 'Cause I forgot it's Friday and I'm going home. Our hopes and dreams aren't set in stone. This little town, it's ours to roam again. I throw my arms out across the river. I cry my eyes out when the band delivers. I guess it's time now. Oh, I've got shivers and I'm coming up. I'm coming up again. I'm coming up again. I pray these days won't end. Oh la la la. Oh la la la. These are the days that I'll always remember. These are the days that I'll always remember. I'm right here and you're right there. These are the days that I'll always remember. These are the days that I'll always remember. I'm right here and you're right there. So I throw my arms out across the river. I cry my eyes out when the boys deliver. I guess it's time now. Oh, I've got shivers and I'm coming up. I'm coming up again. I'm coming up again. I pray these days won't end. Oh la la la. Oh la la la.
And that was James Webster with Across the River. Chris, thank you. I was sure Lurgy Crypty was in Braddon, and Chris has confirmed it. And Chris, in case you don't know, is the greatest authority on where places in Braddon are or aren't. So thanks for that, Chris.
The sky turns grey, the trees begin to burn. The breath you so, so very, very, very low. If you wait a little longer, you will find this fruit on the blackthorn tree. Paradise and honey, shaping the land that we were born and breed. Lies and money doesn't build the land where we come from. Paradise and honey, shaping the land that we were born and breed. Lies and money doesn't build the land where we come from. Paradise and honey, greed lies. Paradise and honey, greed lies. Paradise and honey, shaping the land the way you're born and breed. Lies and money doesn't build the land where we come from. Paradise and honey, shaping the land the way you were born and breed. Lies and money doesn't build the land where we come from.
And that was Road, Dust and Honey by Mishra. And Mishra is a collection of two people by the look of things, according to their website at least. Ford Collier on the low whistle, percussion and guitar, and Katie Griffin, banjo, vocals, dobro and guitar. And they formed in the University of Sheffield, where they discovered a shared fascination of UK folk music and Indian classical. So there we go. Wonderful piece of music. I'll find more bits of music from Mishra for future programmes, I think, because I rather like that. Anyway, back to Maxine Cannon from Isle of Man Post Office and Professor McDonald talking about the wonderful stamps that were launched recently and all about Manx Vikings. And what... because you've intrigued me now by mentioning these contacts. What sorts of things were the Manx kings writing to the English kings?
Well, principally the stuff that has interested me most is, of course, King Ragnvald is involved in this titanic struggle with his brother Olaf over the kingship throughout much of his reign. And much of the correspondence in the time of King Reginald or Ragnvald, I think, is really tied up with that dispute with his brother, where he's sort of attempting to get on side with the English king and get some support against his brother. So it's very closely tied up with what's going on in terms of the feud with Olaf. It's very formal language, and the rulers are addressing each other as, you know, my most beloved kinsman and things like that. So it's really interesting to see that sort of formal diplomacy and work in these written instruments in very sort of formal Latin, and how that sort of contrasts with some of the presentation of these rulers in other sources, where there's an Irish praise poem on King Reginald in which he's basically described as a sort of a good old-fashioned Viking, and he's going around with his fleet of ships pillaging and plundering, and there's this almost sort of two-faced nature to these rulers. And I've tried to suggest that it really depends on, who the audience is and who they're dealing with, how they present themselves.
And I guess, just as in modern day politics, formal letters and fancy words can't always be trusted, can they? And perhaps some of the things that were being written between the kings maybe wasn't entirely to be believed.
Absolutely, and that's one of the sort of subsets of the challenge, is trying to decipher how much of this is genuine and how much of this is, for example, the scribal formula for the way that these things were composed, and that's absolutely the case, and that's part of the sort of historical detective work that goes into this.
What this is a difficult question, I suppose, to ask, but what is it that do you think that we most misunderstand about the Norse rulers of the Isle of Man?
I think one of the things that I've tried to argue is that there is, I would go back to this idea of a two-sided presentation, that there is a sense in which these really are sort of good old-fashioned Norse or Viking sea kings. They rely on, they have large fleets of vessels. They do engage in piracy and plundering. There's lots of battles and civil wars. So on the one hand, they do fit that mold. But there's another side to these rulers as well, and I think that's where I would point to the things like, for example, Godred Crovan's son Olaf, who founds, of course, Rushen Abbey. And Rushen Abbey was a house that was founded for one of these reformed religious orders that had emerged about 40 years earlier in France. Olaf had grown up at the court of Henry I of England, and he came to the Isle of Man from that context. He brought that knowledge of that reformed religious order with him. He made the foundation. And so what that shows is that he's plugged into contemporary European trends of religious orders and religion and monasticism. And so at one and the same time, yes, these are Viking kings, but they're also Christian rulers and they're Christian princes, and they're all even Godred Crovan, as far as we know, is a Christian. So there's another little interesting wrinkle, and that's just one example. I could give others, but I think that to me is one of the things that's very interesting, is this sort of dichotomy between. One of my colleagues in the States has written a very good and interesting book that with the title called Viking Pirates and Christian Princes, and that's kind of the dichotomy.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
I want you to hold me, kiss from the sun. I want you to want me like I was the one. I want you to breathe me, air that I am. I want you to take me and no one else can. So these tears dry tonight. 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 One day I will find you underneath the beam of a light. sun. I want you to want me like I was the one. I want you to breathe me, the air that I am. I want you to take me when no one else can. So these tears dry tonight. So these tears dry tonight. Turn on the lights and we're down forever. It's a beautiful night and we're here together. Turn on the lights and we're down forever. It's a beautiful night and we're here together. I want you to hold me, kiss from the sun. I want you to want me like I was the one. I want you to breathe me, the air that I am. I want you to take me when no one else can. So these tears dry tonight. So these tears dry tonight.
And that was James Blunt. It says Cyril here, I'm not quite sure why. And then Tears Dry Tonight. And time, I think, now for some of these boys.
As Manx has potholes in roads not on the TT course. Manx Radio.
Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Sarah.
Avashan
A Gilg, the Manx Gaelic, Ginian Amera, the mother tongue of Elian Vannin, the Isle of Man.
Avashan
You can catch up with more of Manx Radio's Manx language programmes in the weekly podcast Abershen Rish. Say that again.
Avashan
Shene, that's the one.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio. Radio Vannin.
Well, we're terrible late with the Vinia Happas weather, so just a very quick update. Be a Chitta Venus Chirma fast a beg Jew, as esh be a Chirm as Gial as Grianach Merach, as esh be beg in the Fiao on Jamurt as esh higger the V na share on Sanasta Jamurt, as the chicken the be a cat that you a carachakt and a man lugshen. The just a brief update on the weather. Hopefully it's dried up now and will be for the rest of the evening. Then tomorrow is looking like a dry and bright day, and then Tuesday morning a little bit damp, and then the things will begin to improve in the day. So that was our cue for a Manx track, and we're going to hear from MacLear. And they're taking us to the point of hair.
Galas Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee. Gallus Gaccan, brought to you by the Gaelic Broadcasting Committee.
And you were ready for them to launch into something there, weren't you? I was too, but they didn't, so there we go. That was what did they call? Not McDulloch MacLear with Point of Air. Let's get back to the interview with Professor McDonald. Did they have any concepts of nationhood, do you think, or was it purely a case of this is the territory we've got and we'll rule it in the way that we see fit? The concepts that we might have nowadays about Englishness and Manxness and Scottishness, whatever it may be, did those sorts of concepts exist, or
They're emerging in the 13th century, certainly in England and Scotland, and I have actually argued that possibly we can see the beginnings of that here in the Kingdom of Mann and the Isles as well. We have references to assemblies at Tynwald. There's a reference in the Chronicle that I think a lot of people know to 1237. One of the things I've found very interesting is the many references in the Chronicle to the inhabitants of the Isle of Man, where they very specifically are denoted as the Manx people or the Manx populace. And interestingly, also in the Isles, there is a distinction that's made, the inhabitants of the Isles. So I have wondered, and I do wonder, whether along parallel lines to what's happening in Scotland, for example, where historians talk about the emergence of a community of the realm of Scotland in the 13th century, we might be seeing that here as well. And certainly if we jump a little bit forward into the 14th century, we do have references to the community of the realm of the island of Man. So I think it's quite possible.
Because the other thing that fascinates me about all this is, of course, most of the time, well, all the time the Norse rulers, the Viking rulers were here. The majority of the native population were speaking Gaelic, whether that be in the Western Isles or in the Isle of Man, and it's fascinating to. I suppose we'll never really understand how it could be that you had people with such a ruthless and bloodthirsty reputation. How did they become integrated, I suppose, into that Gaelic-speaking world?
Well, I think you're right. The linguistic situation is tremendously interesting, and you're right also that scholars don't necessarily agree on exactly what the situation was, but what I would say is that the praise poem on King Reginald or Roggenwald that I mentioned earlier is in Gaelic, and so presumably he has at his court an Irish-speaking bard who composes this poem in his honor, and I can't imagine King Reginald sitting there listening to it and not understanding, because that's not the way this sort of poetry works. So I think there's this very interesting, perhaps it's even we should talk about it as a bilingual kingdom.
Well, certainly, there was a suggestion at one point that maybe there was a Scandinavian language. There would have been possibly at one point on the Isle of Man a Gaelic or Old Irish, possibly some sort of Welsh would have been spoken if you go back early enough. and maybe even some kind of pidgin language between the Scandinavian and Gaelic. So it probably at one point the Isle of Man had quite a lot of different languages.
Absolutely, yes. Those suggestions have all been made, and I'll leave it to the linguistic experts to fight out some of those. But yes, agreed.
And I suppose final question for you then: what would you say your proudest moment is in terms of the research, or the most interesting thing that you think you've discovered over your academic career?
I think if I could answer that two ways, I think one of the things that I take great pride in is trying to advance the understanding of this kingdom that has often been described as a sort of a lost or a forgotten kingdom, and trying to put that onto the radar screens of especially academics, because up until very recently, when you've read a lot of the traditional histories of the medieval British Isles, Scotland, England, the Isle of Man, if it's mentioned at all, is very peripheral. And so generally speaking, one of the things that I've been trying to do is simply to make people and other scholars aware of the existence of this kingdom. And you can look at it two ways. You can say, well, it only lasts for a couple of hundred years. It's relatively short-lived. But at the same time, 200 years is not an insignificant period. That's longer than the Crusader states existed in the Middle East, for example, in the Middle Ages. And I've tried to look at the reputation of some of these rulers and the way in which they interact with Ireland, Wales, England, Scotland, Scandinavia. Their reputations are known in the period, so legitimately it is a forgotten kingdom and a lost kingdom. I think unquestionably the most interesting thing that I've done in my career, I have to go back to Maxine's earlier comments about the stamps. I was so honored to have been asked to collaborate on this issue, and it was such a fantastic experience to work with the post office and with Juan and put this together. And it has generated quite a bit of interest in my own university and sort of in the community, because it's so different. And it's part of what we call knowledge mobilization, where, we try to get information, out in different media. And it's unquestionably, it's been wonderful. And that's why I'm here on this visit. And it's always a pleasure to be back in the island.
Professor McDonald there. Next, Green Day with Basket Case.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just up? I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's like a sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore. So quit my wife and cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Grasping to control, so I better hold on. set it up. I think I'm lucky up. Am I just paranoid? Like a
And there we are, that's Basket Case by Green Day. Some might suggest your presenter is one of those. Anyway, just enough time to tell you that the Pothen Cly group, the basically the Parents and Tots group in St John's and Ramsey are on tomorrow, 9:30 to 11:30, and the Arbury Pothen Cly, which is basically a mums and tots but with a bit of Manx thrown in, that's on at Ballabeg Hall, 9:30 to 11:30. So there they are. And I mentioned, well, we'll hear the rest of the interview now with Maxine and Professor McDonald, and also In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.
Thank you, Andrew, for those very kind words about the Isle of Man Post Office and, in particular, Isle of Man stamps and coins, which we're thrilled to have your knowledge as part of our stamp issue, and also to recognise the work that Emma Cook did in taking June's artwork and bringing it all together as a stamp. But I was reminded of when you were talking about us kind of what's the phrase? We'll go with anybody. We'll hunt with the
Hares and the Hounds.
The Hares and the Hounds. And my mum had a great saying, and she used to, so 800 years later, you know, kind of 20th century, my mum is saying, do you know, they've got more faces than the Jubilee clock.
Yes,
you know, and so so I was reminded that you know, we've really not changed much in that we do choose our friends, and I'm very grateful that you chose us as a friend.
Oh gosh!
And that you know, we're all here today to share the story of the Sea Kings, of the age of the Sea Kings, and looking out here on the most gorgeous summer's day in the Isle of Man and across the Irish Sea. We have so much to be grateful for on our little island, that we have all this heritage around us, and
Indeed.
people like you who want to share it with the wider world. And
just a quick note to the listener, this programme was recorded before the early summer came to a tragic end, and it started...
well predicted end.
Marvellous.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maxine.
Well, Mungo Jerry are hopefully going to encourage the summertime back. Bob Carswell's up next.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Speed along the lane, you can turn or a turn of 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by. When I grab people, when I dirty, when I mean, we love everybody, but we do as we please. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea. We're always happy, life's for living, yeah, that's our philosophy. Sing along with us, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, da-da-da-da-da, yeah, we're happy. Da-da-da, dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da. Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da, all right, all right, da-da-da-da-da. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All right. summertime and we'll sing again. We go driving or maybe we'll settle down. If she's rich, if she's nice, bring your friends and we'll all go into town. See what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Speed along the lane, you can turn or a turn of 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by. When I grab people, when I dirty, when I mean, we love everybody, but we do as we please. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea. We're always happy, the lives we're living, yeah, that's our philosophy.